Yo, we're back again. Now, today we are going to talk about tactics. Let's talk about what Arsenal did right and what they did not do right, and why Luis Enrique is still the best coach, is the best coach in the world. He showed Arteta that Arteta is still a small boy when it comes to finals, cup finals. You understand? Basically, Luis Enrique kind of like schooled Arteta a little bit, but Arsenal did something right. Arteta got it right. You understand? Now, the thing is that forget about that other video. That was me expressing my feeling as a Manchester United fan. So let's now talk about what Arsenal did right and what Arteta got wrong. First of all, the match yesterday, Arteta got one thing right. He was able to block PSG from operating in the half spaces. That's what he was able to do. Arsenal were better without the ball than when they are with the ball. If you understand what I'm trying to say, Arsenal were better without the ball than when they are with the ball. So what they were able to do against PSG was, especially in the first half, the plan was never to sit back, never to sit back that early. The plan was that in the first 10 minutes we are going to go at these guys when it comes to high pressing and try to see if we can create a chance from winning the ball and scoring. And they did that. That's why the first half, around that first 5-6 minutes, Arsenal were pressing high against PSG. You understand? But when they got that goal, they went and sit back very early. Now, what did Arsenal do? They blocked the half spaces that PSG like to operate when it comes to those half spaces, like, for example, players like Kvaratskhelia, players like Doué, players like Dembele. They block those places whereby these guys like to receive the ball in those half spaces and then they are very fluid. Arsenal blocked that place because what they did was that they make sure that you don't have time to do what you want to do in those places for PSG players. And they did that very well. They were very compact, very solid. So that's why that Arsenal were better without the ball. Secondly, again, what Arsenal did was that they did not allow Vitinha to kind of have space with the ball whereby he could do the damage. So they allowed him to have the ball in PSG's half. So Arsenal block everywhere, and they did that very well. Now the reason why PSG's Kvaratskhelia was not able to function was because it was two things that was affecting Kvaratskhelia. Number one, three things. Number one was Kvaratskhelia was not really fit. That's why after later they took him out. You could clearly see that guy was playing with injury. They just forced him to play that game. Number two, Kvaratskhelia was being doubled. For example, anytime they pass him the ball, you see Saka and Mascara against him. That is 2 against 1. Now, another problem was that you see Mendes. Mendes was not overlapping. It was only Hakimi. PSG were using Hakimi's side more. Mendes was not overlapping. Instead, the only thing Mendes would do is that if he pass the ball to Hakimi, he will start. Or if he's going to make a run, he will make an underlapping run. Or let me say, a run that will go straight to the box. Straight to the box. He was not overlapping. And that was causing problem for Kvaratskhelia. He couldn't do what he's supposed to do. You understand? So that was a big problem for PSG. And they did not allow Vitinha to kind of like progress the ball. This is why sometimes I look at PSG, I look at their midfield, I was like, these guys need a 10 player. Like if they had like a Bruno Fernandes, I think they would have scored Arsenal a long time ago. But they didn't have that kind of player. All the midfielders that are there for PSG are all central midfielders. You understand? There's no 10 player there. So that affected PSG because who is going to put those risky passes? Vitinha is very good with progressing the ball, playing sideways passing and all that, but he cannot like put those straight powerful passes. Now, let me tell you what Enrique did in the second half for them to be able to equalize. The goal that Kai Havertz scored, like I said again, was from pressing. So after that, they went back and they were packing the balls. Now let me tell you what Enrique did to tell you that this man is very smart. What he did was very simple. He made just one. He did not do changes, but he just made he just gave one little instruction. He just told Vitinha. The reason why they were able to score PSG was that he told Vitinha that, look, the next thing you are going to be doing now is I want you to make sure you run into the half space. Now, Vitinha started making late runs into the final third, but he was not making it through the middle, he was making it through the half spaces. For example, where Kvaratskhelia was playing, that's where he was making those runs. He did it a couple of times. Now, Arteta must have noticed this, but he didn't have any solution to kind of like stop that. At the end of the day, that is where the penalty came from, whereby they want to create some overloads. And Kvaratskhelia was able to get a penalty from Mascara. The pressure was coming. Vitinha started making those runs. I was watching the game. He was constantly making those runs. But now, the thing is that at the end of the day, PSG really did well when it comes to, they started moving the ball quicker. They started doing what they normally do. And also, when it comes to Arsenal had nothing. against PSG. I mean, the response from Arteta when he did the changes was he brought in the likes of Victor Gyokeres. At the end of the day, Arteta was playing one route football, long balls, and yeah, at the end of the day, nothing. They had nothing on PSG. You understand? And look, this is where Arteta feel as a he's not there yet. Against Guardiola, it was bad. When it comes to finals, try and look at it properly. Against Guardiola, it's the same thing he was doing. You understand? They received three. This one PSG. You understand? And the thing is that they were really depending. I talked about set piece. Arsenal we are waiting for set piece. They were depending on it. And let me tell you one thing. This whole week before the final, yeah, Enrique trained on set piece. He trained against set piece. He knew that Arsenal were going to depend on that. At the end of the day, what happened? This is why I was asking the question when the league finished that. Can Arsenal really sustain? Is this thing sustainable for next the next season? I asked this question. I know what I was saying, and you can clearly see the evidence right now. Let's see what will happen next season. But Enrique really screwed Arteta a little bit, and at the end of the day, penalty is something that that it could have gone anyway. Penalty is like by luck. But when it comes to the match itself, if they play that game again, Arsenal, I don't think Arsenal will even score. That goal that they scored was just at least that pressing. But after that, I don't think Arsenal will score any other goal again. The set piece is where they can score, and they couldn't score any set piece. You clearly see it. So that's it, man. See you guys later.